Hi, I'm Susie Garden, and this is the Ageless and Awesome Podcast. I'm an age-defying naturopath and clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to bust myths around women's health and aging so that you can be ageless and awesome in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The Ageless and Awesome Podcast is dedicated to helping women through perimenopause and menopause with great health, a positive mindset, and outrageous confidence. Hit subscribe or follow now, and let's get started. Hello, gorgeous one, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ageless and Awesome Podcast. I'm Susie Garden, your host, and I'm so happy to be with you this week talking about one of my favorite topics. It's a topic that is really close to my heart, and that is all about sleep. So many women struggle with sleep when they get over 40 and sometimes younger. And if you followed me for a while, you know that this has been a love-hate relationship for me. It's something that I'm consistently having to work on. Sometimes I just think I've nailed it, and then I need to start from scratch again. So today we're diving into this topic. It's not only foundational to hormone balance, but also because it's just one that so many women struggle with. So if you've ever found yourself wide awake particularly between 1 and 3 or 1 and 4 with hot flushes maybe, your mind racing, or just restless, or just lying there going, why can't I sleep? That's me most of the time. Not most of the time, most of the time when I can't sleep. That's me. I'm not stressing about anything. I'm not worrying. It's just, I'm like, why can't I sleep? So we're going to explore why sleep is so essential to hormone health, how our circadian rhythm and cortisol levels influence everything from mood to metabolism, and most importantly, how to finally get a better night's sleep during perimenopause and postmenopause. So let's dive in. So firstly, why is sleep a non-negotiable for hormone balance? Well, let's get this out of the way first. Sleep is not optional. It's not a nice to have. It is a must have, especially during peri and post menopause. A lot of people, and I used to be this person, I'd go, I can survive. I only need 6 hours sleep and I'm fine, because that's how I used to operate when I was in my corporate job. If I got 6 hours, even if it was a broken 6 hours, I would consider that a really successful night. So, that is something that it's just not on. It's just not what we need to have an actual functioning brain and functioning hormonal system. You see, sleep is when the body runs all of its most important repairs. It's when hormones are actually made. Detox pathways are activated. Your brain clears out waste through the glymphatic system. That's glymphatic with a G. And your nervous system gets to reset. So skipping or skimping on sleep is like trying to operate your phone without ever charging it. Eventually, it's just going to stop working, right? So what makes sleep especially vital during perimenopause is how deeply connected it is to our hormonal ecosystem. And here is what I mean. Sleep directly influences cortisol levels. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, and it should follow a natural rhythm, a bit like a circadian rhythm. So it's a little higher in the morning to wake you up, get your blood pressure going, get you waking up feeling energized, not sluggish, and low at night so you can fall asleep. Poor sleep flips this rhythm, leading to that tired but wired feeling that so many women experience. Melatonin, which is your sleep hormone, is also a powerful antioxidant that supports hormone health and immune function. So if that is not working well for you, we're going to have a problem. Lack of sleep disrupts insulin sensitivity and raises blood sugar, making it harder to lose weight or maintain it, because when we are asleep, we naturally have a little bit of a lower blood sugar, and that's so that we don't have to wake during the night and eat. right? So, we know that there is a link between being overweight or obese and not sleeping. And I think it used to be thought that this was because you'd wake up, and I definitely did this, you'd wake up in the night and go to the fridge, right? Have something to eat and then go back to sleep. And so I think for a while, before they really did some good research on this, they thought it's just people eating more. But in fact, it's way more complex than that. We are supposed to have a little bit of a lower blood sugar at night, and our body can operate perfectly okay. And I'm talking about someone that doesn't have any blood sugar regulation issues such as diabetes. And this lower blood sugar allows the body to do all the things it needs to do, because let's face it, you don't need loads of energy when you're sleeping. And that nice low blood pressure during the night, low sugar during the night, and that nice then lower insulin being produced during the night means that your system is working really well and you're not having any blockers to weight loss. When we are awake, our blood sugar will come up because the body's thinking, okay, we're going to do something. We're awake. Blood sugar comes up, insulin will come up, and this can create hunger. It can create cravings, and it can block weight loss if your insulin's a bit high. And we know that just naturally through perimenopause and postmenopause, we develop a little bit more of what we call insulin resistance, where the body the cells are not responding to insulin in the way that we need it to get the sugar from the blood or the glucose from the blood into the cells. So maintaining our blood glucose at an optimal level and our insulin at an optimal level as well really helps to put you in the fat burning zone. Okay. And this is where a lot of the fasting type of regimes are based on. It's managing blood sugar like that. So when you are awake, even if you're not going to the fridge and eating, it's just going to make it harder to lose weight or maintain it because your blood sugar is going to be all over the shop. And the thing is, chronic sleep deprivation affects estrogen, progesterone, thyroid function, and many more of our body systems. And that lymphatic system I mentioned earlier, this is kind of like the equivalent to a lymphatic system for your brain. And it mainly operates when you're asleep. It removes waste products, it removes fluid, etc. from your brain. And it's crucial for maintaining brain health and preventing neurodegenerative diseases. So super important for our long-term cognitive function. It's also a major contributor to brain fog if it's not operating every night. And again, so many of the women that I'm talking to aren't sleeping very well and are very foggy in the brain. So if you're trying to balance your hormones, address hot flushes, reduce anxiety, lose weight, or feel more emotionally stable, sleep has to be part of the equation in order to resolve these things. So, okay, you might be thinking, that's great, Susie, but I want to sleep and I just can't. Like I mentioned before, it happens to me a lot. And I hear you. Peri throws a lot of curveballs at your sleep. And here's why. Progesterone is very calming to our nervous system, and it starts to decline in our 30s, and we get a really rapid drop in our 40s. And progesterone has a calming effect, helps regulate a neurotransmitter called GABA, which actually helps to promote deep sleep. And with less progesterone, many women notice more restlessness, anxiety, and insomnia. And at the same time, our estrogen can also drop. It fluctuates, it surges and it drops, but this all affects our serotonin, which is the precursor to melatonin. If you don't have good serotonin, then your melatonin's not going to be good either, because we use serotonin to make melatonin. So they're very important neurotransmitters or brain chemicals for mood and for sleep. Hot flushes and night sweats, really common symptoms of estrogen imbalance, can literally wake you from a deep sleep, leaving you soaking, but tired, foggy, frustrated the next day. And plus just the constant stress of life, juggling work, if you're a parent, if you're looking after aging parents, all of the other things, keeps cortisol high at night when it should be low, And when you don't have that calming effect of the progesterone, it just really reduces your resilience and your ability to manage and juggle all of these things. So when you say, I'm doing everything right and I still can't sleep, you are not making it up. It is real, and your hormones are a big part of this story. So I mentioned circadian rhythm before. Let's talk about that. You've probably heard of that, right? This is your body's internal clock, and it governs your sleep-wake cycles. It also governs, you may not know this, it governs your hormone production, your digestion, and even your immune function. You may have heard me talk about rest and digest. That's the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's kind of part of this circadian rhythm. Overnight, we rest and digest. During the day, we're more in that fight or flight or that stress response. And that stress response isn't a bad thing. It's there for a reason, but we need that balance, right? So we need that circadian rhythm to be balanced. When it's in sync, you feel energized during the day, you feel sleepy at night, and that's great. When it's out of whack, you're foggy, you're irritable, you're anxious, and yes, your hormones go haywire. Light exposure is probably one of the biggest influences and regulators of your circadian rhythm. You've probably heard that, particularly in relation to jet lag, right? You always get told, if you're jet lagged, get up in the morning when the sun is rising, and that will help reset your circadian rhythm. So morning light helps raise cortisol and boosts alertness, while darkness at night signals the melatonin to be produced so that we feel sleepy. And that goes right back to when we lived in caves and we didn't have the luxury of being able to control our light. So modern life actually messes with this balance. So many of us wake up in the dark, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, particularly this week when I'm recording it. We're just in the lead up to winter solstice, so very long nights. And the first thing we do, we might look at our phone. So that's a bright artificial light. We might turn on the house lights, a bright artificial light. We spend most of the day indoors. I'm lucky I have a window, but when I'm working on Zoom with clients, my window is covered. So I've got a screen down, so I'm not getting a lot of light then. And those that work in offices may not be near a window, may not get a lot of natural light. We stare at our screens until bedtime, often, and trick our brains. All this behavior tricks our brains into thinking it's still daytime. So our melatonin doesn't rise the way it's supposed to. So our internal clocks are confused, and guess what? It means it's going to impact your sleep. The other thing actually I haven't mentioned is the impact of alcohol. Alcohol absolutely will impact your sleep. So many people go, oh, alcohol helps me get to sleep. And yes, it can actually help you get to sleep, but it will wake you up. So it will disrupt your sleep during the night. And that's why you might be getting those wake ups between, often it's 1 and 3 or 1 and 4. It doesn't really matter what the time is. And yeah, if you've been having alcohol, you may be absolutely amazed at the difference when you stop. So what can you do to sleep better tonight other than not drinking? Let's get into some tactics for you, because knowledge is great, but transformation happens through action. So here are my top tips for getting deeper, more restorative sleep in perimenopause. So number 1, get sunlight in the morning. Go outside within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. Even if it's cloudy, this helps set your circadian rhythm, lowers melatonin, and supports healthy cortisol levels. Even if you can't get outside, even just opening a window if you can, or standing near a window, looking out at the sun. It's the eyes, it's looking out at the sun that is going to do the reset for you. Cut your screens at night. Turn off your devices at least an hour, preferably more, but at least an hour, or get blue light blocking glasses. They don't have to be prescription. Very easy to buy online. I have blue light in my prescription glasses. It does make a difference. It's the blue light that's getting emitted from your screen actually does suppress melatonin, and you need obviously melatonin to fall asleep. So either use some blue light glasses, but honestly, you will be far better off reducing also the stimulation to your mind that comes from screens, separate to blue light. And that's try reading from a book, journaling, listening to music, doing some deep breathing. some things that don't require looking at a screen. And I think a lot of us have lost the ability of keeping ourselves occupied without a screen. I know I borderline on it sometimes. I've actually just done a 2-day training course all on Zoom, and man, my brain was fried. Even though it was an amazing training course, that my brain was absolutely fried after spending 2 days just looking at a screen. Number 3 that I want to talk about is magnesium. Magnesium is magic. And there's the ones that I recommend, magnesium citrate or citrate and magnesium glycinate, are pretty good for sleep, and they're pretty easy to get hold of. These particular types of magnesium support the nervous system. They relax your muscles, which help you get to sleep more easily, and they promote deep sleep. And I often recommend this to my clients in clinic, and this can be a game changer for many clients. It can also help if you're having trouble with constipation. Magnesium is very good as a natural laxative that's very gentle. Balancing your blood sugar. That might even be my number 1. I haven't done these in order, but that's probably one that I've really noticed for me personally, that I really need to stay away from food generally, most definitely sugar, from dinner onwards. There's a huge difference in my sleep when I eat later at night. So, because the thing is, spikes and crashes in blood sugar can wake you up, because this is a dangerous situation for your body to be in. So avoid refined carbs at dinner. So that's all your white foods, white pasta, white rice, all that sort of stuff, white sugar. Instead, focus on protein, fiber, healthy fats, complex carbohydrates to stabilize your glucose and prevent those early morning wake-ups. Calming your nervous system. Now, I've talked about bedtime rituals before. They don't need to be complicated. Could just be having herbal tea or just a couple of slices of ginger. It can be very nice in hot water. A warm bath or a shower. Essential oils, particularly lavender. There's some very good research on lavender. Or maybe a short meditation or some breathing or some yoga nidra. There's so many things you can do to help train your mind to realize, we're going to go to bed now. I need to go to sleep. Your body thrives on routines and cues that it's time to wind down. You can also support your hormone balance. So herbal support for sleep. There's some great herbs that are fairly easy to get. Passion flower is one of my favorites. It helps to stop rumination as well during the night. Valerian, you've probably heard of that. It's pretty common. Adaptogens like ashwagandha, also known as withania, that may help. I always, as I say every pod when I'm talking about herbs, probably best to get recommendations from a practitioner like a naturopath or a herbalist, because if you're on prescription medications, some of these options will not be good for you. But if you're not on any meds and you don't have any kind of medical conditions, these sorts of herbal medicines can really help soothe anxiety, balance cortisol, and improve your ability to get to sleep. The last thing I'm going to talk about is just creating a really beautiful sleeping environment. And I'm not talking about what, your sheets look like. I'm talking about having a cool, dark, and quiet room. If you have a lot of noise that you can't sort of do much about, get some ear plugs that are comfortable and that work. If you can't make your bedroom that dark, then wear an eye mask. I wear a silk eye mask every night. It's beautiful. It's padded. They're really easy to get. But the one I've got is adjustable, which I find really important because I find a lot of those elastic sleep masks are really tight and I don't like them. So an adjustable, silky kind of eye mask is a game changer for sleep. We've probably heard this before, reserve the bed for sleep and sex only. Make your space a place your body associates with rest. So finally, let's recap a little. Sleep is not just about feeling rested, right? It is a vital part of your hormonal health, your emotional resilience, your metabolism, and even your brain function and your future brain function. If you've been struggling with sleep like I do a lot, know this, it's not your fault. You're not alone. Your body is going through a huge transition. But with the right tools, strategies, and support, you can get there. It does take discipline though. So start small. Don't be overwhelmed with everything I've spoken about today. Choose maybe just one, maybe just two of the strategies from today's episode and build from there. Your body is always working for you. It just needs the right environment to thrive. Now, if you want personalized support, I'd love to help. You can reach out through my Instagram at the perimenopause path. No, that was right. Or book a peri weight loss assessment, which is free, just 20 to 30 minutes with me, by the link in the show notes. That is one thing I do need to tell you, that the results for sleep in my clients, very fast and game-changing, and that's mainly through food, mainly through food and reducing inflammation. If you want to learn more about inflammation and food, go back to last week's podcast. So thank you for joining me today on the pod. If you found this episode helpful, I would love it if you would share it with a friend. Maybe take a little screenshot of the pod and pop it in your stories, tag me. I love to see that. Or leave me a review. I would love to see that. It does help more people find the show and feel empowered in their peri and postmenopause journey. Until next time, take care, be well, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining me on the Ageless and Awesome podcast. If you liked this episode, please make sure you click the little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or the follow button if you're on Spotify, so that you get each new episode delivered to you every single week. If you feel like writing me a 5-star review, you would absolutely make my day. If you found this episode resonated with you, head over to my Instagram and DM me at the perimenopause path. I would love to connect with you.